I can't believe I'm saying this about a Nikon camera, especially for filmmaking, but I don't know if people are hyped enough for the ZR. Nikon and Red making love and giving birth to one of the most interesting and pretty incredible mirrorless cameras we've ever seen was definitely not on my bingo card for 2025, but now we're in 2026. I've just spent some time with the ZR making multiple projects and just wanted to give you guys my honest, high-level look at this camera. And I'm not gonna sit here and just glaze over specs and stuff. I really wanted to take this camera out into the real world, make some stuff with it, tell you guys about my previous long history with Red, and just see what this camera can actually do from a non-biased, non-sponsored perspective. Nikon Red did not send me this camera. I got it from my friends at Robert's Camera in Indy. They have a rental house and they loan me gear to help me make videos. No money came into my pockets from them. They're just homies of mine. We support each other and I really appreciate them because it allows me to just be fully upfront with you guys. This video is sponsored by Higgsfield AI. First of all, let me just be fully transparent with you guys. I know that a lot of us are very fatigued by the AI discussion, especially in filmmaking. Generative AI is a very touchy subject, so this is not gonna be another AI bro promotion video. I really wanna let you guys know how I think this can be used in a relatively ethical way. If you guys hate generative AI, I totally understand. I'm still figuring out how I feel about it and what I wanna use it for. So I'll talk about Higgsfield a little bit later and how I'm trying to use it in an ethical way that doesn't impede on actual filmmaking and creativity. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below, but please keep it civil. I'm here to talk about the ZR and my history with Red. So let's get into it. Wow, so if you haven't heard about this camera, I'm pretty sure you already have. You're just lying to yourself, okay? No, but Nikon bought Red. I think it was either 2024 or 2025. It was massive news and everybody was wondering what the heck is gonna come from this partnership. A mostly photography-centered camera company purchases one of the most legendary cinematography camera companies. But in a really cool turn of events, we learned that Red is essentially remaining Red. Nikon is just at the helm now, but there will be projects where they collaborate together to make some sort of project that can combine the technologies from both companies. And the ZR is the first thing we're getting from them. So this thing made absolute headlines because it's a small mirrorless camera, full frame, shoots 6K Red RAW NE, which is like a version of Red RAW's codec. It can also shoot 4K at 120 frames per second with a little bit of a crop. I took it out and tested this. We'll go in depth on that footage, but it all looks very good. This camera doesn't have open gate, but we're gonna work around that for the projects that we're gonna be working on in this video. And this camera does have autofocus and it does have internal 32-bit float. What's cool about that, and I feel like it kind of gets glanced over in videos, but the Lumix cameras, for instance, I'm filming this on the S1R2 because I had to return the ZR before filming the talking head. But don't worry, I filmed some talking head footage with it so you can see what it looks like in like a high produced YouTube setting. It looks incredible. But on the Lumix cameras, they have 32-bit float capability, but you have to use an external device to access that. So you have to put a recorder on top of the camera that connects to the hot shoe, and then whatever audio you get into that recorder into the camera is now 32-bit float enabled. The ZR, what makes it special is you just tick a little box in the settings that enables 32-bit float, and then whatever microphone you have going directly into the camera is now enabled with 32-bit float compatibility. Also, I'm sure you've heard, but this camera has a massive flip screen, and the first time I turned it on, just like everybody else who's talked about it, I was just like, dang, I don't want to go back now. It's so useful having a screen this large and this bright. It also has pretty dang good battery life and IBIS, so we're gonna test these things as well. It's very affordable. It's around $2,000 USD. Previously, Red cameras have been ungodly expensive for just the brain of the camera, and I want to talk about my experience with using some Red brains in the past, particularly a camera called the Dragon 6K. Before I was technically full-time on YouTube, I was doing a ton of freelance stuff. I started my freelance business in 2016, so I actually am celebrating my 10-year full-time creative this year, which is kind of insane. I've been doing this for a decade. Not YouTube specifically, but just making a living with cameras for 10 years. Pretty insane. But when I moved to Nashville, Tennessee around 2018, 2019, I started working with a friend that I had met named Kevin Johnson, and he is an incredible director, DP, producer, and he was using the Dragon 6K for all of his work. And that camera is an absolute workhorse, basically indestructible. It's a 6K Super 35 Red camera, can do some really cool high frame rate stuff. I wanted to say that working with Kevin was just so awesome because I didn't have access to Red cameras and stuff. On my like individual stuff that I would DP and direct, shoot, edit, like one-man band stuff, I was using GH5 and just absolutely loving that camera. But when I would work with Kevin, he would be the one like directing, writing, like running the show. I would mostly just be a camera operator. So I got to get really intimate with the Red Dragon 6K and spend a ton of time shooting with that thing. Man, we shot so much stuff. We did commercial stuff. We did internal corporate interviews and like cinematic B-roll videos for companies promoting to their own investors. So like working in steel mills and like hot environments, but also like kind of clinical looking interview setups where we had to work really fast. And we shot an unbelievable amount of music videos. So for a long time, we were doing basically all the music videos for the bands on Solid State Records. I was also in a band on Solid State Records. If you need a little Zach Mayfield lore, if you're a newer person around here, I was in a band called Earth Groans on that label. That's a completely different story, but we shot so many music videos for like heavy rock and metalcore bands. And the 6K Dragon was our baby. She did everything on those productions. It was amazing. The first music video that I worked with Kevin on was a narrative video for a band called Fit for a King. Shout out to them. They're the homies. They're freaking amazing. But we filmed this scene with this boxer in a super hot boxing gym in Atlanta. And that was the only time that I saw the Dragon 6K overheat. We had to dive into the menus and crank the fans to cool it down and then finish the shoot. The sensor in this camera, the more we used it, it was just absolutely incredible. It had like a richness and a grit to it. Not like it was like noisy gritty, but just like it had so much like substance to the footage. And I think that's what I came to understand about Red cameras from using the Dragon 6K was their like the Red raw codec and the high bit depth it offers versus other camera codecs and brands. It just has so much color and so much detail. It just like pops out of the screen. My throat just made a crazy noise. It was like, and we even used this camera on a short film. It's on my IMDb credits, guys. I'm a real filmmaker. Wow. That was a bloody nightmare to work on, and it turned out. But I did get to cam op the 6K on a legit short film with legit actors. It was like a super fun production. Like the crew I worked with was awesome. Kevin was running the show. I was cam opping, and we shot a lot of low light stuff. We shot some like bright daylight stuff. That camera could do everything. The Red raw codec can handle anything, which is amazing. Another production we did with this camera was working on Silent Planet's music video for Trilogy. Now, this was a really interesting project because at this time I had moved up from the GH5 to the Blackmagic Ursa G2, another camera that I miss and I was in love with. Still fantastic to this day. We filmed with both these cameras in the desert. We shot some like projector stuff in a studio, just a bunch of random stuff. Kevin killed the direction of this video and the edit. He absolutely crushed it and blended the Blackmagic and Red footage together perfectly. It was freaking amazing. But probably my favorite project that I got to shoot with this Red camera was for a band called Off-Road Minivan. Tuck, the main singer, songwriter of Off-Road Minivan, is the bassist of Fit for a King. So this is his side project. Shout out Tuck. Shout out to that Indian restaurant we went to that made your head sweat like crazy. That was so fun. I love those guys so much. And this video felt like my baby. So Kevin and I went to New York with the Red to make 2 videos for Off-Road Minivan. The first one, called You, was kind of Kevin's like direction, lead, everything. I still cam opt on it, but that was like Kevin's video. The second one, Vampire, was more mine, where I felt like I got a little bit more creative control on that one. I got to edit that one and cam op that one. We both were like fully involved on both, but Vampire is just like a very special project to me. Filmed in this like super cold location. It was like an abandoned bar venue that we wanted to shoot in. The Ursa G2 actually got so cold that the liquid crystals in the screen started to ghost because they were so cold. Nothing like that happened on the Red. It was just an absolute tank, no issues. I mean, the G2's footage turned out fine. It was just the screen that was getting weird because of the cold weather. But the Red tanked through, everything was great. Editing that footage was awesome. It was like one of my first experiences like really diving into Red RAW. I wish I would have been editing in Resolve at that point because there's just so much flexibility, so much control. The UI is so much better. And the results of grading in Resolve are just, I think, infinitely better after making the big jump. That's been my main experience with Red. I really loved shooting with that camera, even though it was very cumbersome. Like, it was very heavy, which I do like heavy cameras for handheld, and we shot a lot of handheld. I think the motion looks way more professional when your camera's weighty because it's not this light mirrorless camera with micro jitters and stuff. Heavier cameras for handheld all day, in my opinion. And the Red was great at that, but it was still clunky, and like even just like navigating the settings and stuff, and like it's just a brick. It's a literal brick of a camera with a big red record button on it and raw sensor data. The image turns out incredible, but it's just a brick to use. But I wanted to dive into all that context with you guys to try to help you understand, if you're not in the Red system or you've never tried it before, how insane it is that we have the ZR now. Because the amount of money you have to spend to get into the Red ecosystem now is so low. Like $2,000, $2,200, whatever it is crazy for the fact that you get full frame 6K Red RAW footage. And I know it's not the full Red RAW codec, but I've been playing with it for multiple projects in Resolve, and this footage looks unbelievably good. It looks like Red footage. It pops off the screen. It has that richness to it, that depth. But this is a Red camera, and I want to just be upfront. Like, I'm not treating this as a Nikon camera. I'm not gonna use the H.265. I'm not gonna use NRAW, ProRes RAW, nothing but Red RAW. If I were to get this camera for myself, I would treat it as a Red camera and use it in Red RAW, despite the massive storage sizes of the files. I want to use it to its full potential, and that's what's so incredible. They do give you those options for people who are going to use this as like a regular run and gun workhorse camera where you might need to do something quick and easy. H.265 is fine. It's not as good as some other cameras. Go watch Jason Morris's video. He did a spec for spec side-by-side breakdown to the FX3. And yeah, it's not quite as good, but he has a very informative video on that. So that kind of like blends me into my journey of like testing Nikon cameras, because I have a brief history with Nikon cameras, but I've shot some productions with them as well. And I wanted to talk about that experience before we get into like the final verdict of now like what the ZR is and can be and can do. So a couple years ago, I shot this project called Broteen. If you have been around for any amount of time, maybe you saw this video, but I pitched it to Nikon and I said, hey, I want to shoot this like really high quality looking commercial. I want it to be super clean, and I'm very interested in trying the Z8. That was like their main beefy camera for video at that time. So I pitched the project to them. They said, yeah, this would be really cool. I was gonna make the commercial, a BTS video, and a YouTube short, all like promoting this project and showing off what the Z8 can do. So they agreed to it, and they gave me a small budget, which helped me create the project, praise God. So they sent the Z8 out to me just to use for the project, and I had to send it back afterward. But I shot Broteen on this camera, and the footage was absolutely amazing. I think I just did ProRes 4K HQ, so it'd be manageable to edit, but it was still like so clean. The Z8 sensor, and like Nikon sensors in general for video, like the colors in their log profile are like pretty good. They're pretty natural and beautiful and clean. We'll talk about the Z6 III. But yeah, I had a great experience with the Z8. The autofocus was a little slow. I had to tweak it to get it to work for the project. So I shipped the Z8 back, never really thought about it again, because for filmmaking, like it got the job done, but it wasn't the most convenient or fun camera to use for video. Then down the line, they announced the Z6 III, and I got my hands on one just to test it. I didn't buy it. It wasn't a sponsored video. I just got it on loan. And I'm trying to think how to say this, because I feel like whenever I talk about Nikon, like the angry people just like come out of the woodwork. I don't have like a vendetta against any brand. I like poking fun at literally every single brand. There's just brands that take it better than others, and there's fans of those brands that take it better than others. And I think Nikon folks in the comments tend to just like get more defensive. I think it's probably because y'all's cameras got called potatoes for 20 years or whatever it was. So I get it. You know, you like your brand. It's like if you're a Chevy guy, you want people to like Chevy. I get it. But guess what? I like some Ford stuff too. It's okay to like multiple things, and it's okay to make fun of all these things because they're from massive companies that don't actually care about you. They want your money. Consumer rant aside, I tried the Z6 III, and this camera did produce a beautiful image. It gives you a lot of options like ProRes, it's got IBIS, it's got better autofocus than the Z8. It's also got NRAW, it's also got H.265. And like overall, the image looks fine. it just really struggled with noise performance. Philip Bloom has a wonderful video about the noise performance on both the Z6 III and the new ZR. If you want to go watch his video, it's way more in-depth and knowledgeable than I would be able to provide you. But then finally, the ZR gets announced, and I saw everybody make their, like, there was the first wave of videos that come out, like always. That was really cool to see. And then like now more real world stuff is coming out. Now I finally have my hands on one and I want to shoot some stuff. So what are we gonna make? I want to make something with the ZR that's going to lean into its feature set. Like, why don't we just lean into it? Let's lean into Red RAW. Let's use some autofocus and some IBIS. Let's try to get some shots that work for a compact camera that you can get into like tighter spaces or fly on a gimbal or a slider. So that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna work on multiple scenes here, but first of all, let's talk about AI. Basically, I am not going to use AI to replace my filmmaking process because that's what I'm in love with. That's why I've been making videos and films for so long, is I love the process of coming up with an idea, visualizing it in my mind, and then going out and grabbing that idea. And when it does turn out to be exactly what was in your head, like that Tim the Tatman project was exactly what I wanted, that is the most rewarding feeling to me, not getting a million views. It's the actual process, and then seeing that result, watching it back with friends or family or whatever, and be like, yes, this is filmmaking, this is awesome. So using like AI to replace what you love is goofy. I don't want to do that. I don't like that. So what I've been testing Higgsfield for is stuff like pre-visualization. So I don't even really want to talk about this, but I feel like I have to. So I'm working on a potential short film. I don't know if I'm actually going to be able to pull it off, but it's kind of a sci-fi idea. I'm not going to like disclose more about the idea, but I've been using Higgsfield AI to use like Nano Banana to generate really good looking frames. And specifically, I've been using Cinema Studio within Higgsfield AI. I know a lot of other sponsored videos are talking about this too, but what you can do is select your camera and your lens type and format and create shots with like Nano Banana Pro quality, but through this like digital AI lens and camera to get more of like a filmmaking look to your previs shots. But for me, I'm just using this to create a shot list that actually looks closer to what I want to go for and have characters from an uncaptured world that I want in my previs to help my actors and crew and stuff to see what we're going for. So that's what I'm using Higgsfield AI for right now. It's not replacing my filmmaking. It's just adding a little bit of a tool to my tool belt, and I'm trying to use it responsibly. But what do you guys think below? Be civil. Now let's move on to the projects that I've been doing with the ZR. All right, so this first test scene, or test shots I wanted to get with the ZR was with Uncle Joe here, my incredibly handsome brother-in-law. Oh, I don't know, that's a good question.
Spec lists, spec cams.
You can kind of see we're testing the autofocus here. Also, I will say I don't think Red RAW, at least from the ZR, performs as smoothly as B RAW. Red RAW does give you lots of different options in Resolve with the decode quality, so you can do full res premium, and then even at quarter playback. Let me just turn my grade off quick.
What the heck is that Nikon?
Does not play back. I can play the Pixis back graded full quality.
What the heck is a Nikon Red? Let me show you.
Wow. Well, the autofocus looks really good there. Let me turn my grade back on.
There's a penis!
Okay. This is a great test of 32-bit float, actually. We were trying to film this stupid scene, and then my son ripped his diaper off.
Dude, that's no diaper. Hey! Somebody grab a naked kid.
Oh my god, there's a penis!
Literally like blowing my ears out. You can see we're fully clipped, but because I was recording with 32-bit float internal, I can just pull this down and all the information is safe.
Oh my god, there's a penis!
I've talked about this in previous videos, but I have like a lot of rosacea on my cheeks. Like they look really red, and certain camera color sciences like Canon, honestly Lumix too, will really make that look even more red than it does in real life. Blackmagic looks really good with my skin tones, and honestly everybody's skin tones, it looks amazing, but the red here does a really good job as well of just like looking really natural. And this is just some natural light coming in from the window, nothing crazy going on here. So that's just the exposure. Like the skin tones look really nice and natural here for the most part, and because you have more bit depth, it's not like trying to blend all that together. You actually get like the individual colors from a variety of skin because you have higher bit depth. I am blowing out here a little bit. I wonder if I can fix that. See, in Blackmagic RAW, you get an option down here to protect your highlights, and it gives you like more dynamic range. I wish I had this on this camera. Yeah, that's just gone. That's my bad. So I adjusted the colors here a little bit using these sliders in here. They're freaking incredible. And then The film look creator is pulling a lot of weight here. It looks amazing, dude. There's just so much information. You can see like how much bit depth there is in the color. Like look how separated the color of my eye is from everything else. Like it looks amazing. It just makes colors pop, dude. And I'm not even doing like a crazy grade or anything. It's so cool. Dude, yeah, I have to change. I gotta drop this down.
All-wheel drive.
Just me crunching.
It's an all-wheel drive vehicle. You come back here, it's really cool. This tailgate.
I'm slipping everything. My ND is causing a little bit of vignetting here. Shout out Tiffin. They sent me some of their magnetic VNDs. They're my favorite VNDs I've tried. They're so small. This looks so
like
good.
This.
He's so proud of his truck. And honestly, I'm proud of her too. Rhonda the Honda.
It's called getting footage for the channel. Tech field, play field. What's your other one? Camera techs. Hey, horses.
Look how good this looks with the sun peeking in through the back. This looks like it would be in a Netflix show or a commercial or something. It looks incredible. Like, let me go to full res for a second. It's not going to play back, but just so we can see how good this looks. Honestly, when you drop this quality down all the way, you can tell, obviously. But once you get around like half res good, going from that to full res premium doesn't really look different. Let's just really pixel peep here. So here's half res good, full res premium. I don't really see a difference. Now we're moving on to scene 2. So in this shot right here, I had the automatic subject detection mode on Nikon's autofocus, which basically just recognizes the scene and what you're filming and will give you animal autofocus if you're on an animal. You can change to vehicle or human, whatever. I absolutely love that about their autofocus. I wish Lumix had that. And this is on the Nikon 24 to 72.8. Looks phenomenal. The vignetting is from the VND, so don't worry about that. It's not perfect, but when it works well. So this is handheld, just no stabilization at all. Just raw dogging, walking, trying to be smooth with the camera. This is normal stabilization, which there's 2 IBIS modes, normal and sport.
What are you doing, baby?
Also, autofocus is just not really working there on her. It's just staying to the background. And then this is sport. Yeah, it's just gonna work a lot better if you're standing still. You can see it's like trying to like compensate, and it's doing too much. I would not recommend using Nikon IBIS while walking, personally. My skin looks really bad here, but luckily their raw profile is really good. I always go into the raw tab first to screw around with stuff. That looks better already. This is how I fix my skin in particular. I go into this guy. This skin tone slider is amazing. So I get everything relatively balanced, and then in my vector scope, you can see my skin tone's pretty off. I like to tweak this, and I like to desaturate a little bit as well. But this is where I fix my skin, is tweaking the reds into the oranges, personally. You just got to be careful not to do too much, because it'll make your lips and ears look weird. If you make those look orange and just blend into your face, it looks strange. If you're not on the Resolve train by now, dude, this is a sign. That's the the red raw just flat. I mean, that is so punchy, but it looks so good, dude. This is autofocus on the 24 end of the lens at 2.8. I mean, right there, it's looking pretty good. I like to look at the edges here to see if they pulse. That's pretty smooth. Now we're punching all the way into 70.
All the way into 70.
That's pretty smooth. It's a little slow. Oh, that's pretty dang good. So now I'm using autofocus, animal mode, and vibration reductions turned on. So IBIS just to shoot like static handheld. And it looks a lot better than trying to walk around with IBIS. That's what you wanted?
Come. Stop.
That was really good. That looked really natural. That was good too.
I wish I could zoom to critical focus to check while recording.
Yeah, so there is a little rocker by the record button on the ZR that you, when you're not recording, you can tap that to keep punching in on your monitor to check focus, but you can't do it while recording, which is a bummer. I really wish they could change that. So now we're gonna look at some 4K 120. Yeah, 4K 120. There's a little bit of a crop, but I didn't notice really while filming. And autofocus is still on, by the way, too. Let's see how autofocus does here. 4K 120. I'm zooming out while she's running toward me. It stays on her. That's pretty dang good, dude. Wow, even like all the way up to camera. That's kind of crazy. That was really good. overall, I think it's just incredible seeing this quality of slow motion. The fact that you still, even in 4K 120, get red raw at full premium decode quality. It looks spectacular. And the fact that you also still get subject detect autofocus is just amazing. Even here, I accidentally pulled up to this branch on the tree, and it did a really good job of automatically selecting that versus staying on her. It's an auto subject detect mode and just naturally went to the tree without me even trying to do that. Indy loves to walk ahead of me and then occasionally peek back to make sure I'm okay, even when she's holding her bow staff. It's pretty cute. After that, I wanted to test some hard mounting shots. I've been obsessed with this lately. Actually, I've been watching Wonder Man, and they have some of the most like unique hard mounted shots I've seen in vehicles. I wasn't able to pull off the level I wanted to, but just a quick mounting setup in my car with one suction cup was able to get some pretty good results. Now, this isn't an ideal camera for hard mounting because it has IBIS, which means the sensor does float. And when there's a lot of movement, even with IBIS turned off, you're gonna see sensor movement. For a shot like this, like something like the C50 from Canon would be better because the sensor's hard mounted. It doesn't move at all. So you'll get like that really nice, like hard mounted look without any weird wobbly look. So right here, you can tell I was having a couple of shots cut out. I was trying to start shots and they would automatically cut out. And what I realized was I was using a slightly too slow CF Express Type B card. Luckily, I do have a cinema grade card that's really fast read and write. So I know this camera is affordable, but you also have to consider like lens adapters, what lenses you're using, the media. You're gonna need really nice media, multiple batteries, microphones. Obviously, when you're going into a new camera system, there's a lot more than just buying a camera body. One thing to note about ISO and exposure on the ZR is it does have a low and a high setting for gain, but I pretty much lit every shot I was shooting, which you'll see in like this final project where I lit everything. And I didn't really need to push the ISO very hard. So it's cool you have that option, but with the flexibility of RAW and lighting scenes, you can get incredible results. I mean, look how this looks. This is natural light and this is so flexible, dude. It's wild. I'm actually the first person to use this copy of the ZR because Roberts had their first one stolen. Some bozo rented their ZR and stole it. If you're out there, bro, we're gonna find you. We're gonna find you. So now we are going to move on to my third and final project. The first two scenes that we looked at here were like tests so I could get familiar with the camera before using it on a production. If you guys don't know, I have a second channel called Zach Techfield. And I basically, with this channel, maybe this is a little YouTube or filmmaker nugget of wisdom for you guys. I have essentially turned myself into my own client. So on this channel, I make whatever I want to make in regards to consumer technology because I'm a tech nerd. But I try to produce the videos as beautifully and filmmakery as possible in the time span of a week. And I decided to make a follow-up to this Steam Deck video, but shoot it on the ZR. And so that's what I did. It was so fun shooting this video in Red RAW. So I'm gonna close this. This video will be out by the time this video's out though, so go watch it. I did export it in full res premium. It took an hour and a half to export. So this is what a finished project looks like on my timeline in Resolve here. But here's a little nugget about the ZR and Red RAW is filming tech videos, I'm often filming other screens, and having the option to film in RAW is actually really great because a lot of times I end up overexposing the screens and I can pull all of that back for the most part unless I really overexpose. So that's a benefit of having Blackmagic RAW or Red RAW is if you're filming stuff that's just super bright and you accidentally clip something in camera, you can usually pull that ISO all the way down or use the HDR wheels. So for these shots, I actually lit my entire studio for the first time. So I went with the light the space, not the face. It was okay. I don't think I had enough bright light and I think it ended up a little too warm for my taste, but it does feel kind of cozy. It turned out pretty cool at the same time. I also should have had these lights a lot more dim back here. I have it really dim right now. I can control that because that clipped fully. Now this talking head shot on the ZR looks, excuse my language, futhermucking incredible. This is a Viltrox 50mm 1.4. It's very solid, very heavy. It can be clicked or declicked. This is not sponsored, by the way. I told them I was making a ZR project and I was like, hey, if you want, I'll shout your lens out if you send it to me. And they sent it to me. They're freaking homies. They're so cool. The autofocus was also really good. I used AF on this lens. And just look at the freaking fall off, dude. It looks so beautiful. Just the way the colors pop, the skin tones in this shot look really nice because they're well lit. You can see I was able to actually get that rosacea to blend out pretty well because I was properly lit. I do a lot of slider stuff in studio, and I've had the best results with Sony because they have the point tracking that just works perfectly for the most part. This one was a little bit harder, and this was on the 24-70, which has, man, even their 24-70 like has some cool character on the lenses here. Like, look at the cool like little details in the corners. Looks awesome. Like, I know this is a goofy shot here, but like this looks like a Red camera to me. Like, it's got that red punch that I talked about in the Dragon 6K. It's freaking incredible, dude. Here's an example of a super low light shot. I was shooting this natural light. It was just a really quick B-roll pickup shot, and counting on the brightness of the Steam Deck here, I jacked the brightness to give me a little key on my face and a little eye light, which seemed to work, which is pretty cool. Let's see how clean this is. I took all the grain out of these shots. Yeah, all this detail here. The blues just pop, dude. And look at that. Like, this really isn't noisy. Like, there's a little bit of texture here, but it doesn't look like digital noise. It looks like a ball sack. Another low light shot right there. I mean, I have some light. My key is on the right side of the frame here, and then the computer screen is lighting up my eye a little bit, but even this just looks, I mean, there's detail everywhere, especially right there. So honestly, the ZR performed really well in a YouTube situation. The autofocus wasn't perfect. There's a little bit of hiccups and glitches here and there, but it's a really good run and gun creative camera because you get 32-bit float, pretty good autofocus, an insane image. Granted, it is a little tough on the computer, but overall, man, this thing slams. Okay, so what do I think about this camera after using it in the real world to the best of my ability? I know I didn't have it for long, so I'm not considering this like an in-depth review or anything, but I do feel like I got some great use out of it and some great shots. Overall, this camera was fun to use. I think for a filmmaking standpoint, it's very interesting because you could pair this with larger cinema cameras, Red cameras, RAW capable cameras, and use it as a smaller B camera, C camera, whatever, gimbal camera, slider camera, but also clearly you can use this as an A cam. The footage is unbelievably high quality. So in the filmmaking world, it could fill so many different shoes, which is awesome. But just being realistic as well, like I mentioned earlier, living here around Indianapolis, there's people that just want the simplicity of shooting Sony. Like the FX3 and the FX6 are just incredibly popular cameras, and people get hired from being owners of those cameras. My cat is meowing. And that's not meant to be shade toward Nikon Red or whatever. It's just a fact. It's reality right now. Even like the Lumix cameras, I prefer them for a lot of the specs they offer, and they're great autofocus, IBIS, whatever. Like all around, like I think the Lumix cameras I would choose over Sony just for the feature set they offer. That doesn't mean that people care. That doesn't mean a client cares. That doesn't mean a production cares. So I think this ZR is incredible and signifies like a leap forward for Nikon and Red. And I really hope that they have success in this and come up with some other great ideas to make something similar to an FX6 or something new. Who knows? We have no idea. Now, to me personally, a more interesting avenue that the ZR can fill and fit into is content creation and YouTube specifically. After using this camera on my Steam Deck video, the footage is probably the greatest looking YouTube video I've ever made. In the meantime, check out my Patreon or YouTube memberships. You get the same thing on both platforms. I have a secret podcast where I'm interviewing creators and industry professionals. And yeah, maybe I can get someone from Nikon or Red on there. That'd be kind of fun. If you want to hire me for a project or sponsor a video, get in touch below. And remember that you guys are loved much more than you might even know. All right? God bless you guys, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye.